Now, Dr. Stammers, you've heard what we've just said there. Do you agree with those sentiments? Are you concerned about the UK potentially moving in Canada's direction?
Yes, I am very much so. And I think this deeply disturbing case, as Andrew was indicating, resulted in part because I understand that Mr. Hunter and his wife had to sell their villa in order to try and get medical care for her cancer. This wasn't something that had occurred overnight. And the lack of access to proper medical care of all kinds, and particularly palliative care, is a prime reason why I think many people, in theory, think that euthanasia is a good idea. I certainly witnessed several of my own relatives in great pain on hospital wards, and needed to do something about that, and did. So I understand the motivation for it. But I think that once you start training doctors to kill patients, even at their own request, it is very difficult to stop it. And every jurisdiction in the world that has introduced it has started off with a limited law for people with 6 months to live, what have you. And it's always expanded then to those with chronic disability, because once you accept the fact that if people are suffering, doctors are allowed to kill them for that suffering, how can you say that, say, the suffering of somebody with severe depression is not permitted and not akin to the pain of an advanced cancer?
Absolutely, and that's what's taking place with our Canadian cousins. That's the debate that's going on there right now. But many of my viewers may be of the view, some of them at least, that actually, if were their partner in a state of pain like that and suffering, frankly, and actually, as you've just suggested, the NHS, it isn't exactly at its best, as we all know right now. Do you ever think there's an argument for someone to be able to ease their suffering? They might perhaps put it like that, and that actually the criminalisation of someone seeking to do good for their partner is quite a cruel thing to bring about in the first place.
Well, if there's any medical system that leaves a woman like Mrs. Hunter in such an advanced state of her cancer without pain control that drove her husband to, I understand from some press reports, to strangle her with his bare hands, that is a tragedy, and that ought not to have allowed to be happen. And I don't know how the situation escalated to that point. But I think to say that for those, and obviously that is an extreme case and an unusual case, to let that then open the doors to allow doctors to kill, as I say, jurisdictions that have done it then can't limit it. And I'm particularly concerned about what's happened in Canada. Last year, there were 10,000 deaths in Canada. And in Vancouver Island, it was 7% of the deaths. So nearly 1 in 14 was due to euthanasia. And next year, they're extending it to patients with psychiatric illness alone. And when somebody is extremely depressed, and it's suggested to them that they, might have euthanasia as a solution to their problem, that is a very, very serious matter.
Oh, it's extraordinary.